How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Patriot DIY channel. One of the next big projects for our shop is going to be installing a Mr. Cool DIY mini split air conditioning system. And in preparation for that, I need a concrete pad outside of my shop for that unit to sit on. So in this video, we're going to be building a concrete pad outside of my shop here. Now, I'm not a professional at concrete by any means. I've actually only done this a few times in my life, but this one went pretty well. So this video isn't really so much of a how-to, it's just a how I do. So I'm going to walk you through the whole process of how I built this small concrete pad. But first, if you haven't done it yet, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that notification bell, and give us a thumbs up. That really helps us out. And just so you guys have a reference, this pad is only 21 inches by 42 inches. All right, guys, let's get to work. All right, guys, before we get started, I just want to go over a few of the tools you're going to need for this project. First things first, you'll need some concrete mix. You can use pretty much any kind you want. I'm going to be using the Quikrete fast setting concrete mix. You're also going to need something to mix that concrete in. I'm just going to be using a wheelbarrow for that. Some other tools you're going to need is a shovel and a landscape rake for flattening out the ground underneath. You're also going to need a drill and 2x4s to make your frame, as well as a level, a small trowel, a scrap piece of wood for screening off the top of the concrete. And these last two aren't totally necessary, but I did find that a hoe and a tamping tool helped out this process as well. Now we need to build our frame. Now, because this is such a small pad that's not going to be holding much weight, it doesn't need to be super thick, so I'm just going to be using 2x4s to build this frame, and we're going to be cutting that over on our miter station. And while you're putting your frame together, you just want to make sure it's as square as you can get it. First thing we need to do is prepare our ground for the pad. So I'm just going to be raking out this gravel and rocks in the area that I'm planning on putting the pad. I'm going to be doing my best to level this out as much as I can, but keep in mind it doesn't have to be perfectly level because we are going to be using some stakes to make sure that our frame is level later. Now that our ground is prepped and our frame is built, we'll go ahead and put all that in place. Now you can dig down beneath the surface if you want to. I'm just going to be putting my pad right on top of the surface, and it's going to be surrounded with this gravel that I already have in the area. Now, a lot of people recommend a gravel base for your concrete pad. And since I already have some gravel in this area anyway, I'm just going to be using some of that to put into the bottom of my frame, and then I'm going to be using a tamp to tamp it down and get it nice and flat before putting our concrete in. Now we're going to be using our level to make sure that our frame is nice and level. Mine ended up being pretty close, so I didn't need a lot of adjustment, but if you do need to adjust this, you can just use some small stakes around the perimeter of your frame and screw those in to hold that frame level while you're filling it with concrete. Once we have all that set, we can go ahead and start mixing our concrete. I'm going to be doing this one bag at a time to make sure that I get the mixture as close as I can. Now I'm just kind of eyeballing the water mixture on mine, but for perfect results, you do want to make sure you follow the instructions on the bag, which comes out to about 1 gallon of water per 50-pound bag. Now you can mix this with a shovel, but I found that a hoe was a good tool for mixing this concrete up. Once I have it mixed to the right consistency, I'm just going to use my shovel to place it down into our frame and spread it out the best I can. And I'm just going to repeat that process with the rest of my bags of concrete. And it may help you guys to know that for my 21 by 42 inch pad here, it took just 4 50-pound bags. Now this is the point where you could put in some rebar or wire if you wanted to, just to help reinforce the pad. But since mine is such a small pad and it's not going to be supporting much weight, I didn't think that was necessary. And once I've filled the entire form with the concrete, I'm going to go back and use our scrap piece of 2x4 in a sawing motion across the top of the form to flatten out that concrete and get it perfectly even with the top of our form. I'm also going to be using the small trowel to help flatten everything out. And now we wait. All right guys, it's been about 36 hours since we laid our pad here. It probably still has a little bit of curing to do, but it should be fine to go ahead and take our form off and take a look at it. First thing we're gonna do is just take our trusty hammer here and just tap around the outsides of our frame just to make sure it's loose from the concrete. And then we'll take the frame off and show you guys what we got. All right guys, now I'm just using this hammer to kind of tap around the outside of our form and make sure that it's separated from our pad. And then we'll go ahead and take off that 2x4 frame. And then to clean up the edges a little bit, I'm just gonna go back with a scraping tool and just clean up that top edge a little bit where some thin concrete had come over the edge of my frame. Then I'm just gonna go back and pull my gravel back around it with my rake, and we have a perfectly good pad ready to accept our AC unit. All right guys, that is it for how I built this small concrete pad outside of my shop. I hope this video helped you out. If any of you professionals or guys that have done a lot of this have any critiques or any other tips that you guys want to share with us, please leave that down in the comment section below. That helps all of us out. And like I said guys, this concrete pad is in preparation of my DIY mini split air conditioning system. So that video will be coming up pretty soon. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Give us a thumbs up. And also it always helps us out if you want to use our links in the description below. So thanks for watching guys. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.